You, as a Liberty Democrat, you've come from a culture and groups of people and families and societies that are overtly and majorly controlling in the way of the way of groupthink. You've inherited a culture that was through lots of major cities of we figured out the best way to do things, so just follow us and get in line. And if you don't, then, well, that's kind of odd. We don't know how to deal with you. You've grown up thinking that there's just certain beliefs that are just accepted and everyone should accept them. And through that process, you've realized that, well, this system sounds kind of nice only if all people can be made perfect and always have good intentions. But you realize that's just not the case, that people don't always act in some altruistic, wonderful way. Turns out that you probably found that people at the top are just kind of using the system of everyone can be made perfect through the government and through legislation, through groupthink. And they're just using the system to mostly control people. And so you've come to realize that liberty is what really is one of the most important things. You've loved liberty, you've had liberty because you lived in the United States, because of people who before you, who have sacrificed greatly and lived in a libertarian, liberty-minded way. And so you have decided that liberty really is a thing that has made your friends happy, made yourself happy, and you realize that this culture needs to stay liberty-minded to ensure liberty continues. But you become worried because you've seen the leftist system that you've grown up in mostly, abrogate liberty and it diminish. That doesn't seem to comport with the way that this groupthink, totalitarian way of thinking is working. So you've come to realize, like I have, and many other people like you and me have, that something needs to be done. And what I've realized is that I had to get with people that are also liberty-minded in order to be effectual. I couldn't just be a libertarian because, I am, but you had to work inside the system to reform the system instead of just being an outsider. So this is why I'm inviting you, and you've chosen inside yourself, you want to be part of the change, be part of the solution, be part of liberty, what has made America great and made America the ability to export liberty all across the world, to lift the entire world economy up. England and America have lifted the entire world economy up since 1550, 1500s, 1600s. We've seen a massive rise in all of the well-being of the world because, and everything has been invented, all the technology, new societies, because people first time had been able to be free from the controls of kings or aristocrats, and they've been able to do their own thing and invent their own things. And that has progressed like a ripple effect through the centuries, from 1600, 17, 18, 19, and now, where we've been able to build a wonderful free society and live in a free world. And so you realizing that might change, and might be going back to a communistic era, and you don't want that to happen. And I don't want that to happen either. So join with me, like I've joined with the rest of us liberty-minded people, to make a stand and say, we might agree with some of these things, but we don't want to bring about the Leviathan, bring about the end of history, bring about this great, powerful government that can one day might do our will. We might like that, but if we give government that power, then they can one day easily use that power against us. Once a different team gets in power, once the bad guy gets in power or the other team gets in power, they can use that same mighty, powerful Leviathan to do all the things we don't want them to do. And so we realize, and I think you realize that too, that we have to curtail government. We can't give them all the power. We have to give individual organizations and individual people the liberty and power to choose things and solve things through individual company, organization, nonprofit means, and through the power of the people. So power of the people is not the power of the government. Big difference, because the government is just power, the tyranny of the majority, power of the majority, and that sounds nice when you're in power, but the second you're not, like a lot of you Democrats, realize you're not in power right now and you have not liked it. So join with us. We don't want to give government that kind of power. We want to let the people be wise and to people, for the people to lead, through a culture of liberty, the culture of individual responsibility to lead, not the government of force coercion. Because government ultimately leads to coercion and corruption. But people have the ability to persuade other people without power and without corruption, but to persuade people through free means and lead the society forward. And I think that's what you want to do, and we have to join with other liberty-minded people who think like this, who want to reform the world and make the world better, but without selling our souls in the process.